The film is set in an advanced futuristic world. Virtual reality has become indistinguishable from the real world thanks to numerous upgraded technologies. A large technology company organizes an exclusive virtual reality game, but unknown to the general public. Whatever happens in the game, it happens in the real world, which means that if a player dies in the game, then he dies in the real world. One morning, 8 civilians from New York City get a call and are given a chance to win $100,000. Considering they're agreeing to beta testing a new virtual reality game. Despite the fact that the offer is random and sketchy, all 8 of them decide to use it and arrive at the specified address. After meeting each other, they find out that they are all accomplished gamers. The organizer of the game welcomes them through a one-sided announcement. To minimize the player's interaction with other people, they are told to sign a contract before donning the armor. Players are allowed to use only each other's game names and keep personal interaction to a minimum. They put on protective suits before undergoing a scan and donning armor. It connects with their costume and becomes one with the player. The armor consists of 54 motion sensors that will help players function properly in the virtual world. They are designed to allow players to get as close to modern warfare as possible. Everyone immediately dresses up, except for one player named Terrorist. He hesitates because of his name, which was supposed to be ironic. He also doubts the technology they are testing and thinks it could be harmful. The others ask him to come home, but the doors to the room do not open. It turns out that the game can't start without all the players joining in. In the end, the terrorists are persuaded to join the others. The armor starts and the room changes completely. The white modern interior is replaced by rustic walls of an abandoned building. The players are shocked because it's almost as if they teleported to some other place. Not only the wall, but their clothes turn into army uniforms, and their tattoos and any scars on their body disappear. One player tries to touch the beer bottles lying around, but his hand goes through them. This game sucks. The other guy opens his helmet to see where he is, and sure enough, he's still in the same room. Putting the helmet back on, he joins the other one in front of the window. Outside, a helicopter is fighting in the middle of a ruined city. The player named Reaper is the most excited. He dreamed of experiencing this level of virtual reality every day. His excitement makes him look like a fool in front of everyone, but he doesn't seem to care. This is a real gamer. While they are wondering what to do next, an army captain appears and orders them to stand by. This man scares everyone, but then they realize that he is not real. When they take off their helmets, they find themselves back in the White Room, where there is no captain. Players who are amazed by the technology decide to continue studying it. They grab a gun each and test bottle shooting. Seeing that the players are irresponsible with weapons, the captain shoots the guy, showing them that their bulletproof vests are destroyed with a single hit. He warns them not to get hit a second time, and the players assume they will be eliminated if they do. The captain explains that their building has been captured by a group of well-trained terrorists. The player's goal is to fight them and get to the first floor. Each of them is given a first aid kit that will help them if they get hurt. The game begins on the 25th floor, and the players begin to look around. At first they are excited, not very careful, but this is until a terrorist suddenly appears in front of them. The shooter quickly dodges and kills the man, showing that he is a trained soldier. Everyone else feels relieved that there is someone like him in the group. They are also much more careful. After that, the wind takes them to the 24th level, where there is a threat of high voltage. They get a bunch of new weapons, because as the level decreases, the danger increases. A man named Alta gets the first kill and is thrilled to see blood on the floor. He gets more violent with every shot and kills a lot of opponents. The Reaper gets the least kills and was almost shot by a terrorist before the shooter saved him. However, in the process, the shooter gets shot and loses his armor. A girl named Taylor says that she came to her friend and was not supposed to participate in the game. She panics and bursts into tears while another girl named Mustang comforts her. Suddenly, the 5th member of Cox's group is shot twice. He falls to the ground and cries in pain. Everyone else is confused because the costume shouldn't make them feel pain. Even when Cox takes off his helmet, the pain does not go away. He is immediately given medication, which eventually helps him cope with the pain. Now he is sure that the game is not what they think. The first shot might not do them any harm, but the second one would definitely kill them. Some of them think they are participating in a reality show, but no one wants to continue playing. The terrorist tries to take off his helmet before he realizes that he is stuck. In a panic, Alta begins to accuse the shooter of being involved in a deadly game. The shooter, in turn, runs away to another room. What the players don't know is that the next level game has already started, which means that the place is teeming with terrorists. Before the shooter has time to come to his senses, he will be shot in the back. Outside, other players are also attacked, but they manage to dodge in time. Taylor tries to go down to a lower level, but the game stops her because they are not allowed to go down until they have completed the previous level. The Reaper thinks quickly and throws a grenade at the enemy, killing him immediately. When everything falls silent, they return to the shooter and find him dead in the hallway. This confirms that the player's death is possible and makes everyone nervous. They soon need to move to the next level, but the terrorist suggests they try to take off their helmets. The first participant, named D-Chief, warns them to stop, but Cox and the terrorist don't listen. They forcibly try to take off their helmets, which makes the virtual captain angry at them. He pushes the terrorist to the ground and kicks him several times, ordering him never to try to break the rules again. The group finally recognizes that the only way to get out alive is to win the game. They descend 2 more floors and reach the 20th. The task is to use knives at this level because there has been a gas leak at this point and any shot will blow up the entire building. In the first few seconds of the game, the boss almost dies before Alta saves him. He can do anything to survive, and he is the most dangerous of them all. Following in his footsteps, the band does well on the next few levels. However, they also lose a lot of drugs in the process. At some point, Mustang has the last set left, but both Reaper and Cox are injured. While she is wondering who she should save, a terrorist comes to their rescue and saves Cox with his last first aid kits. When they pass a few more levels, they stop to rest. The game is getting harder and they are quickly running out of first aid kits. The terrorist starts pounding on the glass wall, trying to get out of the building. He succeeds at some level, but he is stopped by a virtual captain. He beats up a terrorist and breaks his leg with a bone sticking out of his leg. The terrorist is now a burden to the group. Alta suggests they leave him, but the others want to take him with them. In the end, the terrorist hides under the table and asks everyone else to continue the game. He slowly loses consciousness and dies after a while. At the next level, the group has the hardest time because the terrorists outnumber them. Taylor, who has not had a single kill, hides in the room all the time while the others are fighting, but by the end of the level she kills a person and prepares to kill several more. When they finish a level, the group decides to take some time off, chatting about their life outside the game. Cox realizes that they all have no close relatives or friends. Reaper has only a grandmother suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Mustang's family lives abroad. The chef is an orphan, Taylor wasn't even supposed to be here, and Alta is divorced. If one of them dies and never comes home, no one will care. They are all real gamers. This may mean that the organizer of the game chose them in the hope of seeing them die. The information fuels their anger, preparing them for the next round. When they reach the next level, they discover that the captain is beating an enemy prisoner. He shows that there is a bomb in the foundation of the building, and only the prisoner knows the code to disable it. Their next task is to extract the code from the prisoner. This task is easier than the others. Therefore, the group immediately gets to work. The chief presses buttons that electrocute the prisoner. When he feels bad, he whispers that the cat is Pushkin. As soon as Reaper enters the code, the light goes out. When they turn on again, a voice warns them that an explosive device has gone off and the whole building will blow up in the next 30 minutes. Alta panics and starts accusing Reaper of entering the wrong code. The only way to stop the explosion is to turn it off manually when they get to the parking lot, which means they only have 30 minutes to get down to the next 9 floors. Taylor kills the person who gave them the wrong password before asking everyone to hurry up. Suddenly Alta loses her mind and starts beating Reaper out of desperation. It only stops when the captain gives them an advantage by opening the elevator for them. It stops on the 5th floor, but closes before Alta and Reaper have time to get out. They are nervous on the 1st floor, but realize that the elevator takes them further down. Eventually they exit on the 3rd floor. When there are only 25 minutes left before the explosion, the Reaper suggests that they wait until the others come down. However, Alta is against this idea. He directs the scabbard pistol, using it as a human shield to get to the other side of the room. At this point, he just wants to get out alive, and he doesn't care if he has to kill his teammates for it. Soon they run into an enemy, and the Reaper runs out of ammo. Finally, he is shot and killed, while Alta runs away from behind him, hiding. He cannot help but cry over the person he is turning into, but this does not deprive him of the will to live. The others will arrive soon. After passing the top 2 levels, they find the Reaper's body, but they have no idea that Alta is to blame for his death. They take up positions before killing the rest of the enemies on the 3rd floor. Taylor goes to the medical room to look for more first aid kits, and finds one. However, Alta arrives there at the same time and tries to take her away from her. When the two get into a fight, he kills Taylor and leaves without feeling a drop of regret. A few minutes later, Cox runs into Colt and comforts him, thinking that he feels bad because of the death of his friend. But then he finds Taylor's dead body and Alta's name written on the wall in her blood. After learning that he is a murderer, Cox attacks the guy and the two of them get into a fight. At one point, Cox hits Alta with a fire extinguisher, which leads the captain to believe that Alta is trying to take off his helmet because they have already been warned. Alta is attacked and strangled to death as punishment. Now only Cox, Mustang, and Chief are left of all 8 players. They gear up and run down to the 1st floor, finally reaching the parking lot. It is filled with enemies who are constantly shooting at them. As the group bravely moves forward, Cox is shot. He has the medicine to save himself, but before he uses it, he sees that the Mustang is also being shot. Cox doesn't even think before using the last set on her and dying in her place. When there are only a few seconds left before the explosion, the chief runs to it and turns it off. At the last moment, the helmets stop working and the two are transferred back to the White Room. The leader is suddenly surrounded by a group of soldiers, but he doesn't seem surprised. That's when we find out that he is a game organizer who plays with people's lives for fun. Before the Mustang has time to react, she is sedated and taken away. We see that the data on the dead players are permanently deleted in order to get rid of the evidence of their death. The scene changes to a real building parking lot. Mustang lies unconscious while the corpses of her friends are put into body bags to be disposed of. When she wakes up, Dechive is standing in front of her with a bag full of prize money. He wants her to forget about what happened and enjoy life as much as he does. All she has to do is promise to keep everything a secret and she will be sedated again, taken home. Surprisingly, Mustang agrees and wishes him goodbye. Then the man comes back to give her a sedative, but the Mustang catches him by surprise and fights back. In the end, she overpowers him and turns off the light, which makes everything dark as pitch. Taking advantage of the darkness, she kills all of the chief's men, leaving him without cover. In the final fight, she throws the bag at the chief, not wanting to use the money that caused so many deaths. Finally, she leaves the building, being the only person who comes out of the game alive.